Imagine being a kid in the Stone Age. No school buses, no playground safety rules, no tiny helmets, no childproof locks, no soft rubber floor designed by someone who was very worried about lawsuits. Just you, a fire, sharp rocks, wild animals, strange plants, and adults who probably said things like, "Don't touch that. It might kill you." And the scary part is, they were right. So today, let's ask, how did kids survive in the Stone Age? And why was childhood before civilization basically survival training with smaller legs?
Today, childhood is supposed to be a protected stage of life. Adults build fences, put covers on sharp corners, tell kids not to run near pools, and somehow still lose a child in a grocery store for 13 seconds and panic like civilization has collapsed. But Stone Age children did not grow up inside a separate child world. They grew up inside the same world as everyone else. The same cold nights, the same hunger, the same storms, the same predators, the same diseases, the same sharp tools, fires, rivers, cliffs, and plants that look like snacks but were actually nature's trap cards. A Stone Age child was not expected to fight a cave lion, but they did have to learn very quickly that the world was not soft. It was beautiful, it was interesting, and it was absolutely not childproof.
The first rule of Stone Age childhood was probably very simple. Do not wander away. Because for a small child, distance was danger. A few steps too far from camp could mean getting lost, getting too close to water, stepping on something sharp, eating something stupid, or becoming extremely interesting to an animal that should not be interested in children. Adults had to watch constantly. Older children helped watch younger children. Grandparents helped, siblings helped, everyone helped because a child alone was fragile. But a child inside a group had protection. Someone could grab them before they touched fire. Someone could stop them before they ate the wrong berry. Someone could hear them cry. Someone could carry them. Someone could teach them. In the Stone Age, babysitting was not a side job. It was survival work. Now imagine being a toddler near a campfire. That is basically a tiny human with maximum curiosity standing next to the tribe's most useful disaster. Fire was warmth. Fire was light. Fire cooked food. Fire scared animals. Fire helped the group survive the night. But to a child, fire was also bright, moving, warm, and extremely touchable. Which is a problem, because fire does not care that you are still learning. So children had to learn early. Fire is useful, but fire hurts. And that lesson was probably repeated many times by very stressed adults. The child sees fire. The child reaches for fire. The adult says no. The child reaches again, because children are tiny chaos machines. The adult says no louder. Eventually, the child learns. Or at least learns enough to keep most fingers. Food was another problem, because children are very good at putting things in their mouths. Modern children put toys, dirt, crayons, and suspicious floor objects in their mouths. Stone Age children had access to berries, roots, insects, leaves, bones, mushrooms, and mysterious forest items that looked like snacks invented by a villain. So adults had to teach food rules early. This berry is safe. That berry is not. This root needs cooking. That mushroom is a mistake. This animal track means food. That smell means stay away. And sometimes the lesson was not gentle. Maybe a child got sick from eating the wrong thing. Maybe they saw someone else get sick. Maybe the tribe had a story about a person who ate the shiny red berry and became the reason nobody eats shiny red berries anymore. Childhood was school, but the textbook was the landscape, and failing the test could be very unpleasant. Stone Age children probably learned less by sitting in rows, and more by watching everything. They watched adults make tools. They watched people gather plants. They watched hunters prepare weapons. They watched how food was shared. They watched how fire was kept alive. They watched how people reacted to danger. And then they copied. Badly at first. Very badly. A child's first spear was probably not impressive. Their first tool was probably just a rock that made another rock sad. But practice mattered. Playing with sticks could become throwing practice. Chasing other children could become movement practice. Pretending to hunt could become real skill later. In a world without classrooms, play was not just play. Play was training with extra laughing.
As children grew older, they were not just tiny decorations around the campfire.
They could help. Maybe they gathered small sticks. Maybe they collected easy plants. Maybe they carried water. Maybe they watched younger children. Maybe they helped clean hides. Maybe they scared birds away. Maybe they learned tracks. Maybe they carried small things while the group moved. Every small job mattered because survival was made of many small jobs. And older children were in a strange position. They were still vulnerable, but they were also becoming useful. That usefulness probably helped them learn faster. It gave them practice. It gave them status. It gave them a reason to pay attention. And most importantly, it taught them that survival was not something adults did while children watched. It was something the whole group did together.
When people imagine Stone Age childhood, they often picture predators first. And yes, predators were a danger. A child was smaller, slower, and easier to carry away than an adult, which is an extremely rude design choice by nature. But predators were not the only threat. A child could get lost, fall from rocks, drown near water, burn themselves, get sick, get too cold, eat the wrong plant, cut themselves, or simply be born during a hard season when food was scarce. The most dangerous thing was not always a giant animal. Sometimes it was a small mistake. Too close to the fire, too far from camp, too curious about a mushroom, too quiet for too long. That is why the group had to pay attention. Child survival was not one big heroic event, it was thousands of tiny preventions.
Here is one interesting part. Older people may have been incredibly important, not because they were the fastest, not because they could wrestle a bear. Please do not ask Grandma to wrestle a bear, but because they knew things. They remembered seasons, they remembered safe plants, they remembered dangerous places, they remembered stories. They could watch children while younger adults searched for food. They could teach. They could warn. They could say things like, "Do not go there. Someone went there once. It ended poorly." That kind of knowledge is powerful. A child protected by strong adults is safer, but a child taught by experienced adults is smarter. And in the Stone Age, being a little smarter than yesterday could be the reason you survive tomorrow.
So how did kids survive in the Stone Age? Not because the world was safe. It was not. Not because children were tougher little superheroes. They were still children. They survived because they were watched, carried, fed, taught, warned, protected, and slowly trained by the world around them. A Stone Age child did not survive alone. They survived because the tribe treated their survival as everyone's job. And if you made it this far without eating a suspicious mushroom, consider leaving a like. It helps this video survive the YouTube wilderness. And subscribe if you want more strange stories about life before civilization. Because next time, we're looking at one of the most uncomfortable questions of ancient life. What happened when your tribe left you behind?